All right, I want to talk a little bit about Canelo. I know you're not the front man in this. That's Eddie Reynoso. But, you know, I just heard that you got Liam Smith versus Fowler on October 9th. Plus, that's also Fury Wilder date. But there's 4 other Saturdays in October. Do you have any information on when it might be, or November?
No, I mean, firstly, you know, last week we were pretty close to doing the Bivol fight, you know, and I think just time started to run out. It became 6 weeks, and Eddie Reynoso just felt, look, if we're going to just box once this year, let's just get camp right. And of course, they still want the Caleb Plant fight. That's still the priority. So delaying that fight not only allows maybe for a better camp, but also allows the possibility to revisit that. So, you know, when I spoke to Eddie, he's going to go and speak to the PBC to say, let's get these conversations back on track. I don't know if that's going to happen. I mean, maybe not. If not, I do believe he'll fight Demetrius Bivol next. And I think it will be in November or late October. So, like I said, the focus is still the Undisputed Championship, but it wasn't able to be made before in that time frame for September the 18th. Let's see if it's possible to get it made now.
Have you been a little too busy with fight camp to get into Demetrius Andrade or Devin Haney on what's next for them?
Never too busy, actually. We're always spinning a million plates at once. So, you know, when you look at Demetrius, the focus there was to try and make the unification fight with Gennady Golovkin, or particularly with Charlo. In terms of Gennady Golovkin, he's kind of got his mind set on Murata in December. I think he would have liked to fight before, but now, you know, we're approaching September, you know, in a couple of weeks.
So no possible Canelo fight with Triple G?
Not this year, I don't think, because, you know, Gennady seems to have his mindset on Murata in Japan in December. I did reach out to Louis DeCubas as we were talking about a number of other fights and just said, look, what have we got to do to make Charlo against Andre? You know, 2 undefeated American champions. I mean, I don't know how many times I've got to say it.
And what's his response?
Oh, yeah. Louis, I love Louis, you know, and he's not the main player in the Charlo side, but he just said, look, I'll pass it on, but it's so frustrating. So we're speaking to Demetrius now, and we've got to get him out again. You know, again, it's the same old story. You know, we want all these fights. If these guys won't fight him, we have to keep him active, and that's something we've done quite well. So I think we'll see Demetrius fight in October. As far as Devin Haney's concerned, really, we want the WBC to put their foot down and say, okay, order Jojo Diaz. You know, I think Jojo Diaz is certainly not ducking Devin Haney, but he's looking at it and saying, Ryan Garcia wants to fight me. I'm mandatory to Devin Haney. Let me see what the offers are. You know, and let me decide what I think the easier fight is. So again, Devin Haney will be boxing end of October, early November. And we'd like it to be Jojo Diaz. If it isn't, he wants a big fight, you know, and he's ready for all comers.
Yeah, both of those guys deserve a good fight, Andrade and Haney. Speaking of lightweights, though, I want to say congratulations to a lightweight who represented the country, and that's Keyshawn Davis. Now, he was already a hot commodity. You even did business with him. Now he's a silver medalist. He's conquered mental health issues. Does this make him a much hotter commodity in the game?
I think Keyshawn Davis is great. You know, I like him personally. I think he's a great character. I think he's a tremendous fighter. You know, we've seen that from his early fights on Dazn. I think this sort of, I think what he did was risky.
Yes.
You know, he went out, he didn't sign a promotional contract. He fought for us a number of times. He boxed internationally. But I think it's kind of worked, to be honest with you. Like, I think his value now is more than it was when he first turned pro, I think, and he's been fantastic in the Olympics. Fought an incredible fighter in Cruz. I don't know if anyone will ever beat him right now, to be honest with you. And for us, would love to have Keyshawn back on our shows. You know, would love to work with him. I think he's a world champion in the weighting. I think he loves working with us as well. And, you know, he's exactly the kind of fighter that we love to welcome to the team. So I'm sure we'll have those conversations, and hopefully he's the kind of guy I think he'll want to get straight back in the saddle.
Yeah.
Right. Did you watch the gold medal fight?
Yeah.
Did you think it was close?
Yeah,
I did.
I did think it was close, but I did feel that Cruz won the fight. He's a tremendous fighter. I mean, we've got McCormack, who lost to him as well from Great Britain, who's a tremendous fighter.
Mm-hmm.
But I think with Keyshawn, now's the time. See, all this sort of, I'm sort of promotionally free and I'm doing my own thing. It's okay, but then you get to a certain level, you need to plan your future. Not just financially, you need to plan it from a schedule point perspective. You need to have a plan. You can't just rely on, I'm going to do this and do that, because ultimately, if you're not part of a team or a stable, you will only get pushed so hard.
That's a good point. You know what I've noticed? I've noticed that all of the fighters who do that, they promote not having a promoter, and that's the narrative, that everybody shouldn't have a promoter. But then the guys who are very, very successful, like Anthony Joshua, who has a promoter his entire career, those guys don't come and say, hey, you should get with a promoter. No one's really vocal about that.
You can't do it yourself, Barack. That's the reality. Like, I think fighters, once they get to that level, I have no problem them being involved with the promotion and, being involved in the promotion and having your own promotional company as a fighter sounds great, but they never want to take any financial risk, So it's like, when it comes down to it, your name's on the poster, but are you putting the money in?
There's no skin in the game.
Are you delivering the broadcast deal? Are you taking a risk on the crowd? No, you're not. No, you just want to say I'm the co-promoter, right? Yeah. But that's more about building a brand for me. So if you look at, a lot of people that we deal with, I don't know, Bill and Devin Haney Promotions, they're building that business, they're signing fighters. That's great. Sometimes I'll joke with Bill and say, if we lose money on a fight, are you in for half, as my coach? And the same, and with AJ and people like that, AJ has his own business. He has, of course, AJ Boxing, he has 258 management, but he also understands he don't want to be a promoter. He knows it's like, sometimes it can be the worst business in the world. When you're flying and you're doing the big shows, don't get me wrong, no problem. But he looks at it and he knows sometimes what we have to go through in certain situations. And he's smart enough to say, you handle that stuff, but also building his brand, his management business as he goes. So, and he and 258 have a significant role in the promotional process and a lot of key decisions. So as long as you have that kind of power, I think that's good. But ultimately, you have to have a plan. You have to deal with governing bodies. You have to plan out a schedule. It's very, very complicated. And as a fighter, you can't be expected to do that yourself. So eventually with Keyshawn, he'll get to a stage now where he'll say, right, I need to plan my future. And what is that future? Okay, it's October, it's December, it's 8 rounds, it's 10 rounds. Then we go into a regional belt, then we look at the rankings, then we take a route out this governing body. We box you internationally, we do this. You are a business, but you also need a business working for you. And that is the difference. So I think he knows that as well.
Speaking of AJ, in the last couple of months, Eddie, we've had 2 big fights be affected by COVID. Kambosos and Teofimo, obviously Fury and Wilder. The crowd is going to be there in the building. It's going to be a big fight week for Usyk, Joshua. How do we avoid COVID not effing that fight up?
I mean, I guess that's impossible, but you've got to take precautions. I mean, AJ, if you go up to his camp, I mean, it's super, super high level. And the precautions they take are very high end. Usyk, I believe the same. I know that AJ has previously had COVID, believe still has antibodies, and I think I'm not sure if Usyk has, but again, at that level, like, you're not going to see AJ doing any public appearances or going to a show or just hanging around people, and like, he's locked into camp, and I'm sure we'll be just fine.
Oh, he'll be doing some press during fight week though, right?
Yeah. But he'll be tested by then, eh?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Eddie.
Appreciate the time, Eddie, as always, man. Talk to you next week, man.
Guys, take care.